But obviously, something pretty big has happened in the AFL over the last couple of days. And no, it's not Sam Draper officially assigned to sign with Brisbane, which was reported by Tom Morris, even though that's kind of cool. And he's a pretty good player that Essendon will probably not like to lose. I mean, there's something kind of crazy going on right now that it was reported by Caroline Wilson that there is no doubt in my mind that Hawthorn are looking very keenly at Zach Merrett. I think a lot of Essendon fans heard Caroline Wilson say that and say, give her the middle bird and be like, look, Caroline, we don't really care what you say. We know he's not going to leave. It's not going to happen. All of that type of stuff. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for Essendon, depending how you look at it, it has officially been revealed now that Zach Merrett has met with the Hawks. And Caroline Wilson was not talking out of her bunda. This shit is officially happening. Essendon captain Zach Merrett met with Hawthorn on Tuesday night as he explores avenues out of the club. Nine News and Wide World of Sports can exclusively reveal that Merrett and his manager, Tom Petroro, something like that, from TGI Sport, thank God it's Friday Sport, caught up with Hawks coach Sam Mitchell and football boss Rob McCartney at a private residence to discuss what a future would look like with Zach Merrett in the brown and gold. Now, Zach Merrett's going to come out and defend himself and say that this didn't happen, he's not leaving the club, all of this type of stuff. You know, he's going to have to do that because he's the captain. Oscar Allen did that earlier in the year, saying he'd like to stay at West Coast, he's not going to be leaving, all this type of stuff. While shit was moving in the background for him to quite literally join Brisbane. We know the same thing is going to be happening with Zach Merrett here. He's going to deny it and say, I'm the captain of the club, I don't want to leave Essendon, I love it. But behind the scenes, he's meeting with Hawthorn and he's discussing what it could look like if a trade would to be get done. Now look, a lot of Essendon fans don't like this. They don't want Zach Merrett gone. In fact, I'm not an Essendon fan, but I still think you almost have to keep Zach Merrett because he's the only great leader I think they have. And you need him to develop the young players that you're going to be bringing in through the draft. The only issue is that Essendon are, I think, kind of under the assumption with their new football boss in, they believe that they need to go much younger and they just need to hit the draft now and kind of try and do what Richmond did last year and bring in a ton of picks and a ton of players. So, I don't think they will be too opposed for Zach Merrett to be traded. I don't think they're too opposed of, players like Draper leaving, getting them in more picks, all of the above. It's something that I think they want to do, and I don't think they're truly shying away from it as much as what people think they are. But the issue is as well for Zach Merrett is, I think it's almost time that he actually does have to leave. Like, he's given everything up to Essendon and more. He's not going anywhere with the club. Like, they're just not going anywhere. In fact, I think Essendon are pretty confident they're going to be actually starting a proper rebuild now. They've been trying to do this rebuild on the run thing for the last 10 years, and they barely make finals, and then they'll finish 13th, and kind of interchanges. Like, they're not going anywhere, and they know that they need to hit a hard rebuild now instead of this rebuild on the run crap, because it's not moving anywhere. And I think Zach Merrett knows that this is going to turn into a hard rebuild this off-season, and they're not going to be going after any free agents, at least for another year, where they're going to be looking at a Zach Bailey, which we know that has officially been reported. So he knows he's wasting away his career there, and he doesn't have, 5 years to do another rebuild. He wants to do another 5 years contending, and I think he could go to Hawthorn here and do that and make that happen. And it's not like Hawthorn don't have a trade. They have a top 10 pick from Carlton, which they got back. They'll offer that up. They'll offer up a future first. They'll offer both of those up with no problem at all. And I think there are a bunch of young players that, Essendon should absolutely be looking at. Sam Butler would be a great player to maybe see go to the Hawks. He would be a really good addition. A Henry Hustwaite, they could really use a guy like that, at the Bombers as well. There's no reason why they shouldn't be saying, we want Hustwaite, we want Butler, and we want those 2 first-round picks. Zach Merrett would become one of the best midfielders in the game for you. Still, it's not like he's going to change over there. You desperately need a two-way running, quick, fast-paced inside mid, which Zach Merrett is. He's also a great leader, ready to contend now. I think they'd love him at Hawthorn, and he would be the ideal perfect suit and situation for them. And Essendon, yeah, if you could bring in those 4 assets, which I think you would get in, you would move him on. The only issue is with all these young assets in, I don't know if they've got the leadership to develop them. McGrath would become your new captain. Yeah, I mean, he's not the greatest player around. Outside of that, I don't think they have too much leadership. Goldie's there and whatnot. I think if I was them, I would actually try and bring in some leaders to help out these young players. A guy who got delisted in like a Camden McIntosh would actually be really good for a year to try and get him over to the team. I think that would actually make a whole lot of sense, and I would very much like that if I was them. He could also play. I think he'd be good enough to be in their team, and he'd be great leadership, great mentor. He was great with all the young players at Richmond. They just had too many leaders over there at the Tigers. They were able to afford to move one on. I think, yeah, Essendon would be a really good option for him too. But yeah, this could be happening. Zach Merrett could officially be traded, and I think if you're Essendon and you got offered those 4, picks and players, there's no way you're denying that. Like, that's actually a really good return for a guy who's going in, into his 30s and whatnot. I think, yeah, you'd be very happy with that if you were the Bombers. Again, I'd very much like to know all your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Leave a like on this video. Let me know you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel for all the latest sports content and news. My gaming/movie channel, which will also be linked down below. Go subscribe to that. And go check out my Instagram. Give that a follow if you haven't already as well. But yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.